jugar a las escondidas conmigo?
Sí, Max.
Прибежала лисичка-сестричка. Терем-теремок.
Blue hat.
Green hat. Red hat. Oops!
I fell pregnant with my first and I was barely climbing with other women. I didn't know any mums who climbed, and so I just stopped because I thought it was the right thing to do.
I was really scared of losing my identity as a climber, as a person, I suppose.
It's so easy to let go of yourself, your identity, your hobbies, your passions when you become a mum, because you're so obsessed with this little person and they need so much from you.
I was completely burnt out. I was not coping and I was unhappy. You know, I had a beautiful family and an amazing husband, but I was exhausted and my cup was empty.
When you're climbing at your best, it sort of feels like meditation. So when you're really present in the moment and you're just so focused on that one next move and one next breath and one next clip, yeah, it's just totally captivating and amazing, and that's what we all search for.
It takes you to places that you would never go if you weren't climbing. You might hike around a mountain, but you're not going to go to that particular wall, or you're not going to go find this cave.
I love adventure. I love the escape of it. So I like when there's a longer approach because you feel like, you know, you're really getting away.
Being able to do something where you're in nature and you're moving and it's just for you, that's been quite meaningful for me. And then our beautiful community has been really important.
I didn't start climbing again until our youngest was like 2 years old. I think a big part of that is that our eldest, our son, was born with special needs. And so, you know, life turned into specialist appointments and therapy and surgeries and all the stuff that you never think you're going to get as a first-time parent. And everything else just went on hold. So when I first started getting back into climbing, all my old climbing friends from my 20s were gone. They were like moved to different places or they'd stopped climbing. And so I was like that lone woman at the gym, you know, trying to get back my muscles and not really knowing anyone. Eventually, you know, you start to make friends. And then I really wanted to reach out to other mothers because I thought that there were specific challenges that we had that other climbers just didn't seem to face. You know, things about time, about our risk assessment, about dealing with kids and the emotional toll that can take. And this community just started to grow because it was something that was really needed and something that we all felt very connected by.
You know, the relationships that you form when you enjoy spending time together and have common hobbies, you know, those bonds are just so much stronger. And unless you really like advocate and push for it, it's really hard to carve out time for yourself. So you need some people to really back you up and say, let's go.
I think I struggle to have realistic goals. You know, as a parent and as a mum, you know, I'm out there, I've spent like 8 months of a trad apprenticeship. Now I'm finally doing my first lead and there's a young guy on the climb next to me who it's his first time ever there and he's like doing his first lead. And so, you know, being surrounded by people who are maybe not parents, they're young, they've got like heaps of time to climb, they're progressing really fast. That's where I feel like the Mums Gone Climbing community is so awesome because it helped me just to enjoy the journey. It's going to be slow progress and that's all right. This is that phase of life. You know, there will come a time when the kids are older where I totally will hit the road and go climbing nonstop for like a month or something like that.
So when I found the Mums Gone Climbing community, I was really late in my first pregnancy. I was, I think, 3 days overdue to give birth, and I met Grace for the first time. So I just found the community at the exact right time, because I was about to have all of this time with the baby where I wanted to climb, had no one to climb with, and it was just instant friends and support and people that didn't think it was weird to want to go climbing 5 weeks after having a baby. Yeah, it was a Monday morning climbing session and I was just climbing like absolute shit. I was so tired. I felt like Grace had to go get me a banana from the car midway through the climb because I was so like, I'm really
hungry. And I'm like, oh, don't worry. I've got all this food. I've got like bananas and I've got like, I had this whole like, you know, esky full of like snacks ready to go. I'm like, here you go, have this, have that.
We still hadn't talked, but then I was lowering down off this climb I couldn't do and I was like so embarrassed that I couldn't do it. And I was like, Grace, I've got to tell you something. I'm pregnant. And she's like, me too.
Oh my god, that pillow and like, oh my gosh, it's so beautiful.
Yeah, that's like the awesome spot where you are, Julie.
Oh, I'm just gonna soak this up.
What I really wish somebody told me when I got pregnant, don't listen to anybody. You have to figure out what works for you, and nobody knows yourself, your body and your baby as much as you do.
I think, yeah, there's a lot of questions, like either people who are mothers or aren't mothers, like, are you allowed to climb when you're pregnant? Like, people came and asked me that. I'm like, I don't think there's like a pregnancy police out there. Like, I think it's so unique for everyone, and there literally is nothing, you know, concrete to kind of follow. It's just such an individual, like, experience.
Do you reckon putting your shoes on is the hardest part?
It's just the crux.
Oh, so heavy. So much. Oh, gosh. Oh, okay.
So the main thing I've learned from climbing while pregnant is that each time is different, whether my body feels different or just mentally I'm different. Like with Esther, she was my first. I didn't want to take any risk, even though I knew that climbing was good. It didn't feel right to me, so I just did it till 20 weeks. And then with Fitz, I felt like once I had 2 kids, I would never climb again, so I just went really hard. Like, I actually climbed some of the hardest routes I've ever climbed while I was pregnant with Fitz. This pregnancy has kind of been on and off, and I think it's because I don't feel as pressured. Like, I know that after I have this baby, I will go back to the gym and I will go back to everything. It's just a matter of time.
It took me a while to realize that I actually didn't like being pregnant. I thought that, well, maybe I'm not motherly enough, or maybe I'm too selfish to become a mom. But actually, if you're physically active, I mean, you can't exercise in the same way, you can't eat in the same way, like you can't even go to the toilet in the same way, you know? The more I started talking about it openly, the better it felt. And, you know, I don't have to enjoy the pregnancy to be stoked about having a kid.
It's not as bad as I thought, but he actually behaved. Like, he didn't like do any weird movements or anything. So like, I think he knows like when he needs to like let me do my thing.
It's different climbing with women. Like, I don't know, I think it's more lighthearted and playful when I climb with my mum friends.
Put him a collar. Oh my god. Yeah, that's on me. Oh my god. Damn girl.
I guess after having kids, that's when I really started climbing for other women, and I love it. I feel like when I'm with other women, especially other moms, I have nothing to hide. I don't have to push myself to impress anyone else. The caution that I have now as a mom is like quadruple at least, and so it takes me like 4 times as long, and I'm 4 times as nervous. But the good thing is, since we're all moms, everyone gets it, so I can take as long as I want.
Definitely enjoying climbing with women and mums especially. It's really important to have a supportive group of people where you feel safe and you just don't have to prove anything, because you've been proving everything to other people your whole life.
My favorite thing about climbing with other women is that our cycles are all synchronized, and so we can be empathetic when you have to go and deal with lady business before a climb.
Well, I'll never forget when like I had a lot of protection on. I'm not talking about the gear. And it wasn't enough. Halfway up the climb, I was like, it's been breached. and it was, I can just say it was a red point in every sense of the word.
The biggest challenge in incorporating motherhood and adventures is time. There's no time in anything. It's such a challenge.
I don't know. I think it's just time. I mean, there's no time, like, ever.
The biggest challenge with my climbing would be finding time to climb.
You know, I'd get a text message from my old climbing friend Alex at like 9 o'clock on a Saturday night saying, hey, do you want to come and walk up Mount Barney with me tomorrow? I'm like, tomorrow? Like, maybe like let's book something in 3 months from now.
And the logistics of organising babysitters, school pickups, lunches, appointments, just so that you can go out for a day of climbing. Like, it's such an orchestrated adventure. It's not like, oh, it's a nice weather, we're gonna go. No, that doesn't happen when you're a mum.
Even the logistics of making this film, I mean, first there were bushfires and COVID, then 3 other moms got pregnant, then there's just every weekend we would plan to come filming, it would forecast storms.
I think if you look through our like messenger chat, the weather occupies probably 90% of the messages. But I don't know why we bother to talk about the weather, because we just go anyway, because we can't reschedule.
How are the conditions looking now?
It's just spitting lightly. It's fine.
It's fine. It's gonna be fine, everyone.
Well, I'm no frog expert, but it is quite wet, and I think probably not promising. But I'm sure Jelena would disagree. She's ready to go.
It rained inside my swag last night because I didn't fully zip it up, and so I woke up and then I was looking up the weather and it didn't look great. But anyway, I was thinking we should do like a lower grade frog climb with Passive Pro and maybe a chimney, because it might not have gone wet inside the chimney. All in favour say aye.
Sure.
I think everyone's...
Oh my god, I love you.
The rock looks dry.
Okay, I think. Give it a go.
Can always fail, I suppose. Can always fail.
So, despite not having faith in Jelena and her hope of dry rock, the rock is dry!
But it's really humid. I keep steaming up my glasses.
The bit that's the narrowest.
So am I coming up straight up this crack thing?
So I forgot all of my passive gear.
This was so cool!
See ya!
So my journey to motherhood was not at all as I expected. I was hit with a very severe case of postpartum. I had to be hospitalized and I was separated from my son for a couple of weeks and had to be medicated. Coming home from the hospital after living through all of that was not at all the end of postpartum. It was actually the end of a bad episode, but it was the beginning of much longer and darker journey. I felt like everywhere I go or anybody I would talk to, this black cloud would just follow me everywhere. Yeah, it took a long time to come out of it, and I think climbing was always there, but especially climbing with other moms and having the community of beautiful, supportive women that, you know, I that were just there for me with no expectations and no judgment. And even though they didn't go through the same thing that I went through, they absolutely knew what I was going through, and they were just so supportive. You know, having this traumatic event happen in your life, I think it scars you for life. It really does. It's deep inside you, and you can sort of try and spend the rest of your life hiding that scar, or you can wear it almost as a badge of honor. And I am really glad that I chose to wear it as a badge of honor, because it makes me who I am today. It makes me accept my vulnerability as a person, as a mom, as a woman. And I think it's making me stronger in a way today, and I'm pretty proud of that.
The day before I had my first kid-free mum's adventure outdoors, I had my first panic attack. Didn't know it was a panic attack, you know, it was huge. And the very next day I went scrambling up a mountain with 2 friends who were mums. I always felt like I was failing. I always struggled with realistic expectations. I feel like with climbing, it just opens the doorway for really authentic friendships. You know, when you're halfway up a cliff and you've got Elvis leg and you're terrified, like you can't hide it, that you're totally petrified. And so climbing has just really helped me to be more open and honest about where I'm at, and then to realize that people do accept you, they do support you. And I feel like it's the honesty within a community that helps the most.
Again, when you become a parent, actually no, when you become a mother, society is very quick to judge you for whatever you do. But I think that being able to go out and go climbing, for example, that's something that's going to let me then go back and give to my family. It's a really easy trap to fall into, where everything you do is for somebody else and nothing is for you, and it benefits nobody long term. You know, burnout is very real. And
my husband will tell you as well, like when I'm starting to bubble up with stress or anxiety or anything, he's like, you need to go climbing, you need to go running. He knows that I have to do something to really get my head back in the right place.
You know, I've been in a place where, I don't know, I was like definitely borderline depression, certainly anxious, you know, anxiety was huge. And then climbing for me brought the balance back. I have this community that comes together and holds me, and I know I can rock up to an event like in tears and everyone will just welcome me with open arms. And by the end of it, we'll all be laughing, and, you know, we'll know that we can get on and do what we need to do for our kids and our family and for ourselves. And that's, yeah, like nothing can replace that.
So I've got the giggles, but I feel like that's appropriate for this question, because for me, climbing, having outdoor adventures, I feel like a kid again.
Having Mums Gone Climbing as a group, that has just been spectacular. It's been such important friendships that have come out of that, and just hugely positive in our lives.
It's about showing our kids that even when you become a parent, you still have an identity and still have things that you do for yourself. And I think that's the most important thing that we can teach our kids is how to find happiness for themselves.
We're able to come together and inspire each other to fill our own cups, to chase the things that make us happy, to influence other mothers and fathers and families and communities into really embracing motherhood and parenthood and raising children, and doing it in a way that's balanced and full of joy and inspiration. I think that would be a really beautiful future.
You got this, Lenny.
Look at that view! Oh my God!
Perfect.
Really good.
I got goosebumps.
Bruno's impressed.
No, I mean, you say that now, but you.
Yeah, that's it. Like, go hard on those blacks. I'll be over here not progressing at all.
He gets jealous. It's so cute. He's like, you go climbing with Grace all the time and you never go climbing with me. And I was just like, yeah, but Grace doesn't have to look after my child. Yeah.
I'm stuck on the tree.
Does it happen to you?
Just clip my lip.
Hey Rafa, where's your mum?
At Food World.
Oh, that's exactly what Rafa said.
Really, Mum's gone pooping.